each week here on QCO, we always feature an adoptable dog or cat, but rabbits are honestly the third most common animal to end up in a rescue.
Yes, a home for EveryBunny is the only rabbit-specific rescue in the state of Iowa. And joining us from that organization is Alyssa Manweiler. Alyssa, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We are already having so much fun because you brought Peter and Paula with you today. How fitting that we have a little guest on the show named Paula. So tell us a little bit about the organization. It's been in existence for now, what, 7 years?
Yeah, about 7 years. We founded in 2017, and we're the only rabbit-specific rescue in Iowa, and we're comprised of a network of volunteers and foster homes across the state, and we're 100% volunteer-run.
All right, we're going to see, your microphone seems to be off right now. If you want to just hand me the bottom part of it here. We want to make sure, there we go, that everybody can hear you. Okay. So you guys are, you know what, guys?
Live TV.
Live TV, and it was in her pocket, so I didn't feel comfortable doing it on my own.
Fair enough.
So yeah, you have rescued, the organization, I should say, has rescued hundreds of bunnies over the years. Talk about the different ways that they come into your care.
Sure.
Sometimes it's that people own them, and sometimes they're literally rescued from the wild.
Yeah, so sometimes people find that they can no longer care for their rabbit, or they get a rabbit without realizing what a commitment they are, and so they have to rehome their rabbit. So they fill out a surrender request, and the rabbits come to us. We rehabilitate them if necessary. We spay and neuter them, get them vaccinated, and then we get them adopted out to good homes. And then sometimes domestic rabbits are actually dumped outside, and they cannot survive in the wild, and that's a certain and unhappy death for them. So sometimes we have rescue crews that go out and help bring those rabbits in.
And you kind of bring up a point, you know, some people realize once they get the rabbit that they can't necessarily take care of them. So it's important to note that rabbits aren't really a starter animal. So maybe if you have no experience taking care of an animal, maybe a rabbit's not a good idea because they are kind of a lot of work.
They are, and they have very specific diets, and in the vet world, they are exotic animals, so you need an exotic vet to get them care. So yeah, it definitely takes some education and a commitment to give them the care and the space that they need.
Okay, that's interesting. And well, and Easter, that time of year, I mean, when you talk about that, we've got Peter Rabbit here with us today, who you said has been, and both of them have been in your care for over 3 years.
Over 3 years.
I just can't believe that. But tell us a little bit about, with Easter coming up pretty soon, this is a kind of a gift that families like to give over Easter, and then what ends up happening, as you already mentioned, is people realize that they can't take care of them.
Correct.
So what, I guess, should people know before they make that decision, potentially, of maybe picking up a bunny for Easter?
A few things. One is that they can live from 8 to 12 years. So they are a long-term commitment. And it's also good to adopt a rabbit from a rescue versus purchasing a baby bunny, because a rescue will have already made sure that they are healthy, spayed and neutered, vaccinated, and then the rescue will also help you get to know the personality of the rabbits and find the right fit for your home and your family.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So how many rabbits do you have up for adoption right now at your
It's
rescue?
Over 60 currently.
60, wow.
Yeah.
So how often do you see adoptions come through?
That's a good question. It honestly ebbs and flows, and depending on interest, and so we go through spurts, and we usually have a waiting list of people who want to surrender their rabbits to us, but we have to wait until rabbits get adopted before a space opens up. So
and I think you mentioned you're not brick and mortar, so you do rely heavily on fosters to foster
we
these
are
rabbits.
A foster-based rescue, so all of our rabbits are in foster homes. They have at least a 4x4 foot exercise pen, if not more. Peter and Paula have about twice that because they like to run around and play.
Well, that is kind of one of the things that I was reading too on your website, is that people don't realize, like, a lot of times their cages are too small. And so that can make rabbits incredibly unhappy, and,
Yes.
and people don't realize that because they're super active. They need space.
They need space, and they love to run and jump and play, and so a 4x4 foot exercise pen is the minimum requirement we have for people adopting from us.
Okay.
And that was, I had a little dwarf bunny a couple of years ago, and that's one thing that they told us is like, he is going to want to be active.
Yes.
So you got to make sure to give him some space. So what is the adoption process like?
Oh, great question. So the first step is to fill out an adoption application where we find out a little bit about you and your family and your home. And then from there, we have an adoption interview with one of our adoption counselors. And they walk you through what it's like to have a rabbit and health issues that might arise.
Sure.
We try to educate as much as possible. And then we ask families to send in a picture of their setup for their rabbit so we can make sure that it's
good,
adequate. And then from there we approve, and then you get to meet the bunnies and decide which one is the best
So you really
fit for
vet
you.
this process to make sure these
Yes.
bunnies don't end up back in your rescue.
Correct.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And one thing we talked about before we got started here today is like these two are a pair.
Yes.
So that is something that we will find if we're looking to adopt from your organization is like when you go on the website, or I think we were just showing pictures of a lot of the bunnies that are in your care right now. They'll be pictured together or sometimes in trios.
Yes, we have singles, pairs, trios, and we even have a group of 4 currently.
Okay.
Known as the Scooby Gang.
Scooby Gang, I love it.
Yeah.
That is so cute.
All right, so we got to talk about a special adoption deal, I guess, for February.
Yes, we had a very generous donor ask to sponsor all of the adoption fees for the month of February.
Wow.
So that is still going on for a few more days.
A few more days.
Has that been pretty successful so far?
Yes, it has
awesome.
been.
We'd love to hear that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And also a fundraising event that is coming up. We were
Yes.
talking a little bit about Easter.
Yeah.
Tell us about Egg My House.
Yeah, so this is an event
Catchy name.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
This is an event we've done for a few years now, so you can pay the rescue to have our volunteers come and hide eggs in your yard for you, so you don't have to do the work.
There you go.
And you can choose candy or toys
look
or
at
a
her.
mixture of both.
Paula and her little, I just can't get over the noses.
So cute. I know. I'm like, we are listening, Alyssa. And like, you are sharing
Totally fine.
incredibly
They
valuable
are the-
information. But
they're
I
the
just
stars.
adore this pair of bunnies. They're just so
They're very
cute.
sweet.
Very sweet. Okay, well, thank you so much for the wealth of information.
Of course.
And we were even talking about it before we got started. There's just so much to know about a rabbit or about a bunny, things about their temperament and, you know, all of that. So you guys are a great resource for anybody that's thinking of adopting. And you can learn more about a home for every bunny and check out their adoptable bunnies. I already have by heading to the website. That is iowarabbitrescue.org. Alyssa, thank you so much for being
Thank you
here
so
today.
much for
And
having
Peter
me.
and Paula, thank you so much. You brightened our day.
Yes, you did. That is for sure.